What we are going to talk about here in this video has the potential to send Tesla stock to new all-time highs, and it could happen very quickly. This is something the markets have not, in the slightest degree, priced into Tesla stock. Tesla could soon solve autonomous driving once and for all, and potentially start licensing out FSD, as Elon said he would be more than happy to do. What this could ultimately mean for Tesla is that buying today is bargain bin cheap compared to what we could see 6 or 12 months from now. So I have an interesting take on some of the recent developments that have happened with Tesla, such as Tesla hiring seasonal drivers to literally drive Teslas, presumably to train full self-driving, and Elon Musk's new company, XAI. I think there is a reason that these things have happened recently, and I think you want to hear it. So let's go ahead and get into all of this information. If this is your first time to the channel and you like to make money and you want to make more of it, which should be every single one of you, if you want to grow your net worth as quickly as possible and reach financial freedom, which again should be every single one of you, or just stay up to date with everything happening in the markets as well as with Tesla stock, in the ultimate goal to help you make money, well, hit that subscribe button as well as the like button because they're free 99, and let's go ahead and get straight into it. So first thing I want to start with is what Elon said 5 days ago. He says, quote, "In terms of where Tesla is at this stage, I think we are very close to achieving full self-driving without human supervision. This is only speculation, but I think we'll achieve full self-driving, maybe what you would call 4 or 5, I think later this year." He said this 5 days ago. And I think there's an ultimate reason for it. I know Elon has said things in the past and he likes to jump the gun quite often, but I think it's for real this time. What also happened 5 days ago is that Tesla started to offer to pay people between $18 and $48 an hour to drive its EVs this summer. Now, my first opinion on this when we got this news was they're just going to go through your tricky intersections. They're going to try to quickly train full self-driving on problem areas, kind of like we seen with Dan O'Dow as well as Ross Gerber just a couple of weeks ago, where they almost crashed because that intersection was funky. That's kind of what I was thinking when this news first came out 5 days ago. That made a lot of logical sense. But now we have something else that completely shatters at least what I was expecting. Today, Elon Musk launches his new company, XAI. This is something we reported on earlier today. So this is not the first time it's being talked about here on this channel. Now, Elon says they have a goal to understand the true nature of the universe. Whatever that means. Probably a lot of different things. Now, the team members that are behind this are essentially the founders, some of them, and first developers of DeepMind, OpenAI, Google Research, Microsoft Research, Twitter, and Tesla, and have worked on projects including DeepMind's AlphaCode and OpenAI's ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4.0 chatbots. Musk seems to be positioning XAI to compete with companies like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic, which are behind leading chatbots like ChatGPT, Bard, and Claude. I think this is probably true. He probably is trying to compete to some degree with these other companies. But I think everyone is missing the bigger picture here. And I would bet money on it I'm the first one to at least publicly talk about this. Maybe you have thought about this already. Now, what we got reported on back in April is that Elon Musk had secured thousands of GPU processors from NVIDIA in order to power a potential large language model. That same month, Musk shared details of his plans for a new AI tool called Truth GPT during a taped interview on Fox News Channel, adding that he feared existing AI companies are prioritizing systems that are politically Correct. So I want to take you guys back to what my mindset was about 2 hours ago when I thought about this. And essentially why I think full self-driving could be imminently close to being solved, and like solved for good. Imagine it like this. A lot of people use Google Maps, correct? And Google Maps talks to you, and it's gotten pretty damn good over the years. It knows when there's a weird stop sign, or it knows when there's a roundabout. It just knows what's going on. It can tell you if there's an accident 5 miles down the road. It's pretty good. Well, what if you mixed something along those lines as a live kind of GPS, mix that with a language model that can in real time communicate with your vehicle? That means that the acceleration could be dramatic if Tesla cars had a language model inside of them that could actively process information such as a GPS. GPS wouldn't have missed that stop sign that Dan O'Dowd and Ross Gerber almost went through. This seems pretty straightforward, and it seems pretty logical when I think about it like that. Just that extra insight from something such as GPS could make the world, and I mean the world of difference for full self-driving. It could give it a 180 pretty quickly, and I don't think this would be something that would take a super long amount of time. Just basically figuring out how to communicate the car with the GPS with already pretty good full self-driving. You're already, for a vast majority, already there as far as full self-driving. Just those problem spots need a little bit of help. So maybe I'm just reaching here. I think this is pretty straightforward, and I think it's pretty easy to understand. Let me know what you think about this down below in the comment section. Now, what could this actually do for Tesla and Tesla's stock price? Now, there's a couple ways to really look at this, and I think incorporating all of this is probably the best way to actually look at it. Robo taxis. Obviously, that's a multi-trillion-dollar potential. That is almost certain at this point. If you can have a safe, reliable way of transportation and you don't even have to have a driver driving you, that would be appealing to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. People are pretty excited about robo-taxis in the future, especially obviously when it comes down to Tesla. That's what a lot of people base their valuation models off of. But what about licensing full self-driving? What about just increase sales to full self-driving? Because when this thing is nearly flawless, like, I mean, maybe completely flawless, well, I think that's going to drive a lot more people to get full self-driving, and then that's a chain reaction at that point. Like, people I know say, I would never trust a car to drive me around. They say that if they seen a car driving other people around, they would be more than happy to try it out and eventually get it for themselves. That's what my mom said, okay? And she hates driving, right? So I think that's the case for a lot of people out there. So licensing full self-driving, I think this could be one of the biggest near-term impacts. Elon has said multiple different times, but most recently, about a month ago, when they partnered with Ford and GM for their supercharger network, Elon said they would be more than happy to license full self-driving. Now, a lot of people say, well, GM has their own full self-driving software. They have Cruise. Why do they need Teslas? Well, Cruise, Waymo, these other players, they are training quickly, I guess you would call it, in certain cities. Like San Francisco, they have literal robo-taxis. Like that's actually a thing. But you can't leave the city. They're only good in the city because they have every nook and cranny mapped out. Tesla, as I explained in other videos, is taking a full kind of bigger picture look at full self-driving. It's impossible to mass market full self-driving without it being able to be used in every single city. That's why Tesla has to use its drivers with full self-driving across America, essentially across the world, to actively be mapping out the whole world in real time, to relay that data back to Tesla and train their full self-driving models. That's why it would make a lot of sense to license out full self-driving, because GM, Ford, these other players, they are never going to get full self-driving. If they do, it's going to be decades from now, because just the mapping out process is so hard and so extensive of America. Now, what could this do for Tesla's actual numbers? And why could this be important today for Tesla stock and potentially drive Tesla to new all-time highs pretty damn quickly? Now, this is where things get tricky on how essentially licensing full self-driving could make Tesla X amount of dollars. We don't know how much money they would make off of licensing full self-driving. Full self-driving is $15,000. If it became flawless and seeing this integration from something like GPS mixed with its camera system and its already existing full self-driving to really, I mean, guys, this could instantly, almost instantly, give it a couple months, could dramatically improve full self-driving to level 4 or level 5 like Elon says. I actually believe the guy now for the first time based off of this new company, and connecting the dots here is really all it's about. Now, full self-driving, like I said, is about $15,000. And if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about the potential here, as you should be, as I don't think a lot of people have even thought to realize this yet. So it's $15,000. You could be conservative and say they license this out for $7,500 to kind of appeal to the mass market of GM vehicles. You could say they license it out at $15,000, still the same amount to GM's higher end models, right? And just incorporate that into a higher price tag for their vehicles. There's a lot of different ways to try to model this out. You can be more conservative, you can be more aggressive. I like to be pretty conservative with my models, even my delivery numbers, which we were spot on estimating deliveries. That was a pretty conservative model that I used, and it was correct. So we'll also be conservative here. Now, what I'm essentially doing, GM for an example, we're just going to look at GM here. I just want to give you guys a kind of taste of the potential here. GM sold 5.9 million vehicles worldwide in 2022. They actually sold more vehicles in 2021. So use 2021 numbers, use 2022 numbers. I don't think it matters. Now, what I did is essentially said that 25% of these vehicles sold would have licensed full self-driving. And at that point, it would be literal full self-driving. You could turn it on and it would drive you perfectly to your destination. That would be 1.475 million vehicles potentially every year from GM getting full self-driving licensed out. Well, I'm thinking about this super conservatively, okay? The number could be a lot higher than this. I'll go ahead and say that on average, licensing out full self-driving could bring in about half of the amount that full self-driving is outright, which I know is stupid, and I know that's not what it's going to be, but I just want to be conservative. So we're going to times almost, 1.5 million times $7,500. That's the cost for every unit. That brings you to $11 billion. So if full self-driving licensing this out to GM on 25% of their vehicles that will be sold in 2024, 2025, whenever it is, it looks likely that this will ultimately happen. GM's probably not going to have a choice, or they're going to lose so much market share to Tesla. Well, we can actually figure out the EPS boost to this by going ahead and dividing by the amount of shares that is currently out there, which is 3.16 billion shares. Divide this 11 billion by 3.16 billion. That gives you an EPS boost of $3.50 per share. That is more than what analysts are currently forecasting for literally all of 2023. Again, more profits than you are expected to see throughout all of 2023. Now, let's say this is a 2024 kind of thing. Well, the current estimate is $4.80. Let's go ahead and add that to the 350 estimate for EPS boost that I'm expecting we could see. Well, that brings you to $8.30 of potential EPS in 2024. And again, that would be if Tesla solves full self-driving, starts licensing out full self-driving to GM. Probably, it could be a 2024 thing, just depending on how things go. Now, what we'll want to do to find the PE ratio based off of this little model we're doing is take the share price of Tesla, which is currently at, we'll call it $273 per share. Go ahead and divide that by 8.30. That gives you a 32.8 times PE ratio. Now, the PEG ratio on that would be super, super low. So this could have a real material impact to Tesla's earnings. And why I'm essentially saying that licensing out full self-driving would be, there really isn't expenses to it. Full self-driving is around 100% gross margins. It's about 90% net margins. That's why Tesla is sacrificing margins currently to get more vehicles out there so they can sell full self-driving in the future to more people. That's where the profits are expected to come in as far as from Elon, right? That's what he's expecting, is profits to come big time from full self-driving. And I think we're a lot closer now than where we were before to seeing full self-driving actually getting solved for good. So let me know down below in the comment section if this makes sense, if this is something you think that Elon is trying to do. It seems pretty straightforward to me when I connect the dots, and the markets are forward-looking. So if we get some kind of announcement on earnings about what I just talked about, well, that could have a big impact on pricing in some of these future EPS boost and some of these revenue and earnings boost that we talked about here in this video, even if it is 6 or 12 months down the line. Markets are forward looking. If you knew this was coming for Tesla, well, today buying Tesla would be like buying in the bargain bin. This could be a reason why Tesla stock could rally to all-time highs relatively soon. Also in the news today, hitting us here later as Cathie discloses her transactions later in the day, well after the markets close, is another sale of Tesla stock worth $5.7 million this time around. Cathie Woods sold about 21,000 shares of Tesla. This ultimately usually is a pretty good sign Tesla's actually going to rally. At least that's what we have seen recently. Every time Cathie sells, Tesla stock goes higher. Tomorrow, we are going to get PPI month over month. This is the producer side of inflation. We've seen from CPI today that prices are falling quite dramatically. CPI came in better than expectations across the board, at least average analyst estimates and expectations. Our estimates, well, we were right on. We got it correct again because analysts don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you just want your consensus opinions to be correct, well, come watch these videos whenever there is something big going on, and we'll get you the closest estimate possible. Now, PPI month over month tomorrow, you're expecting that to come in at 0.2% positive. Last month's reading was negative 0.3%. Now, negative is not terrible, but it's also not good either. Now, What you're seeing in China right now is negative PPI like 5% month over month. You don't want to see that. Being negative 0.3%, even 0.5%, not a big deal. But if you start to go very negative, like negative 1% or negative 2 or 3% or more, that's where you start to get concerns about economic activity. That's where you start to get concerns that companies just don't have pricing power, and that, you know, they're seeing deflation essentially, and the only thing worse than inflation is deflation. Deflation's terrible long term for an economy. So that's something you definitely want to watch. Best case scenario, I expect this probably comes in at 0.1%, although I don't have enough data to actually read into this, so I can't give a final conclusion, but it could be something important coming out tomorrow. Now, I think the initial jobless claims will also be very important tomorrow morning. That comes out at 8:30 in the morning alongside PPI at 8:30 in the morning, and you're expecting 250,000 job ads. Last week's job ads number was 248,000 net job ads. If this number comes in, or this is initial, apologies, this is initial jobless claims. So this is people actually filing for unemployment. The higher this number goes, the bigger problem you could have, right? Markets, they don't want to see people losing their jobs. We can get the labor market constricting and kind of not being as tight as what we have seen before, or loosening, maybe I should say. It's been a long day, guys. By seeing the job openings actually fall without seeing people losing their jobs or filing for unemployment. So you don't want to see the initial jobless claims come in high tomorrow, or the markets probably are not going to like that. Now at 11:30 in the morning tomorrow, you're going to have a 8-week bond auction as well as a 4-week bond auction, both at 11:30 in the morning tomorrow. Monthly budget statement for the US for the month of June comes in tomorrow at 2 p.m. as well. I'm not expecting that to be a big catalyst at all, but still something to watch for. And Fed Waller speaks at 6:45 p.m. That is going to be tomorrow after the markets do close. Last but not least, according to Robinhood's overnight trading with Tesla, Tesla stock is up about 0.5% at the time of recording this video. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this logic. Tesla seems like they are close to solving AI once and for all with their full self-driving, and could really bring this to a mass market stage here in the coming months. Let me know what you think about that down below in the comment section. As well as that, if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time every time I make a trade, link down below in the description of this video. And that is more than a texting alert kind of thing. That is somewhere where you can come to actually ask me questions, to talk, to interact with people, to grow with a community. If you guys want to be a part of it, if that sounds good, link down below in the description of this video. We're going to be adding things over time as well. Already got a lot of great members over there, and you guys have been the best, so continue to rock on. That's it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day or night, and I will see you in the next one.